want to divest from hateful and harmful practices like the ones you were just talking about, and invest in love through humane policies for all people living in the United States. And there's all kinds of ways to do that. One of the ones we've been focusing on here in Nashua is affordable housing. We have a group of clergy who meet regularly to strategize about how to work for affordable housing here in our local community. Because we're in a bit of a crisis here in Nashua and in New Hampshire around housing. We have 4,000 fewer units than are needed. We have people from all walks of life who are struggling to get housing that they can afford here in Nashua. In my congregation that is probably on the more affluent end of Nashua, we have folks who stay in housing conditions that are terrible, that aren't kept up well. I know I had one congregant who stayed in a place with a roommate who didn't respect him and his life choices at all, and had to stay there because there was no other housing. We have folks who end up in a weekly housing facility, paying over $350 a week for a single room, who can never get ahead because they don't have a safe place to live. So that's a really important issue for us, and we're wondering if you are elected president, how will you work to divest from those inhumane policies, from the militarization of our border, from immigrant detention and deportation, and put money into areas like affordable housing?
Yeah. So we were talking about significantly reducing the detained population, detained in part because of the mandate passed by Congress for the number of beds, influenced, you've got to think, by the corporations who stand to benefit the longer you keep immigrants detained. We know that for 1/10 of the cost, we could run a family case management program that allows these asylum seekers to stay with family. Many of them have family deeper into the interior of the United States when they arrive at our border. Assigning them a family case management officer ensures that they're treated humanely. We pay a fraction of the cost, and we've seen, it was piloted 1 year in the Obama administration, a 100% show rate for court dates. So they're even doing a better job of following our laws. That produces a significant dividend, which, as you suggest, could be invested in communities, in neighborhoods, housing, early childhood education, child care. Martha brought that up as a challenge for some of the immigrant communities that we're talking about right now. And then I also think there's a great opportunity for the federal government to invest housing dollars, perhaps conditional on local communities having inclusionary zoning policies. In other words, we don't decide that poor people are going to live in this part of town and wealthy people are going to live in this part of town or in this part of the state. I've heard from people in New Hampshire who talk about a 2-hour drive to get to jobs serving tourists. They cannot afford to live near those jobs, and a 2-hour drive back, not making enough to cover their cost of living, gas, repair to their vehicles. What if we said the federal government wants to help with community development block grant money, for example, or tax credit housing dollars in these communities, but you've got to allow folks who are lower income to live closer to those who make more right now. That's just an idea. Also investing in transportation, transit and light rail to make that easier to get to your job. Also to address impacts on climate. And then you just mentioned just the dignity of being able to live in a place where you're respected and feel comfortable and safe. Makes all the sense in the world to me. So yes, I think there's an enormous savings that we could apply to that. And even if we couldn't, I would want to make that investment because it's necessary for us to realize our full potential as a country. Thanks for asking, sir.